Welcome to my lair. My name is Obendrath. I shall be your most stalwart stranger. As I've discussed in my last video, Phantom Blade Executioners was an excellent experience. It's a game that combines swift savagery with a grimly gorgeous gallery of tragedy as well as tenacity. If you wish to learn of my thoughts about it, you may find its link in the description of this video. Before I continue, I'd also like to inform you that this dark duty of mine, to provide you with enlightenment and entertainment, does get difficult sometimes. If you wish to aid me in my adventures, feel free to buy me a coffee. The link to this is in the description as well. In the cosmos, the unending unknown. Sometimes we would think that there might be life among the stars. We wouldn't know for sure, but the chances of plodding upon a planet where the life forms are friendly enough to accommodate you are alien, to say the least. Yes, I know, I made a pun. But think for a moment of yourself as a member of one spacefaring species whose mothership was hit by a powerful burst of energy from a nearby planet. Once you've landed alongside your confident comrades, you find out that not everything is as it seems. Welcome to Cradle, where the snipes spin sincerely, the leaves levitate around the trees, and a monstrous mechanical marvel direly deceives all who discover it. Dive headlong with your friends and join the ranks of the Spiral Knights.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
You'd say, this isn't a mobile game, it's a PC game. Indeed, it is true, but I beseech you, dear viewer, that you hearken the words of this hollowed heart. I am a long-time player of this game, and I'd like to hope that it would respire and revive itself into something more. My dream is dour, but I'm not alone among those who share my sentiments. Let me tell you why I think this game has a plethora of potential. Spiral Knights is an older game. In fact, if you haven't heard of this title, there's a chance that you've not yet been conceived when it was created. Originally released in 2011, yes, the game is already over 10 years old. Spiral Knights is a free-to-play, massively multiplayer online dungeon crawler with some RPG elements. Players may delve into the depths of the Clockworks, a gargantuan, gratuitously gyrating system of biomes, beasts, and bosses that are all part of the mysterious and mesmeric storyline of this wonderful game. They may choose to fight alone or in a party with a maximum of 4 knights at a time. Thankfully, without needing to use mist energy anymore, but I digress. Each and every knight may take the hoard and treasure they've tallied from their travels and craft them into various types of gizmos, gear, gadgets, and more. Think of this as a much cuter version of Monster Hunter, except your largest enemy isn't some durable, daunting dragon. It's lag. If you aren't following the quests and you're simply advancing through the arcade, no 2 floors will be the same. There are puzzles to be performed, fearsome foes that will fight you, and lots of loot to lay your hands on. Each time you descend, your adventure will always be different, and as you descend further, it will only get more difficult. Sometimes, if you're unprepared, your whole run may even be rubbed out in an instant. Of course, with skill and proper gear, your chances of surviving will improve, but only slightly. After all, this game favors those who can impress it as well as have an impressive internet connection. Now, this next part of the video will be a rather rangy review of a run I had. This is particularly for any of you watching who are interested in trying this game out. I couldn't not include this in the video, for it was far too fun for it to be left out entirely. So please indulge me in relaying to you this retelling of a regular run into the Clockworks. It all begins with a single night. Your very own knight, to be precise. In this case, my knight is Baramar, an edgy weeaboo knight armed with a scary sable sword that is the Acheron. He smites and slays gremlins in a superbly sanguinary sense each time he seeks them out. He doesn't like being in the company of friends, but in this case he has no choice. Otherwise, he enjoys pruning bushes and playing with snipes. By the way, he hates gremlins, let's not forget that. At the beginning of his Clockwork campaign, he teams up with Yoshi, a sharpshooter with an even sharper wit. He only seeks to upgrade his arsenal of hard-hitting firearms. Alongside Yoshi is a vigorous veteran named Gas Guzzler, or Gas, as he'd be called by his allies. Gas was armed with a depot of different devices and dynamos, but his favorite among these were his bombs. The three descend together and overcome various challenges such as packs of wolvers from the Wolver Den, a dastardly danger room full of time bombs and spike traps found deep within the blast furnace, the haunted Scarlet Fortress filled with grievous ghosts and persnickety puzzles, and the annoying quicksilvers of the power complex. Baramar has even found a simple orb of alchemy, much to Yoshi's envy.
Hey, what you got there?
A simple orb of alchemy.
Cool! May I have it? I could use it for my... It's mine.
They press on into the lichenous lair, where the gelatinous lichens would pose a threat to the party by continuously converging together. After besting said lichenous lair, they arrive at Moorcroft Manor, where they encounter yet another knight. This one was someone that Baramar had unspoken desires for within the depths of his heart.
Karitsa. Beneath her glasses was a glare that I could feel in my codpiece, and the grip on her gun was tighter than a lonely anime girlfriend on a Saturday night. I could tell right then and there that we'd make a wonderful pair of fellow knights.
Karitsa was just like Yoshi, a marksman, but she'd favor guns that serve their salvos in a more rapid rate of fire. Joining the team, she descends with them into the wasteworks where the enemy spewed forth sickly sprays that would verily envenom anyone unlucky. They carefully and critically cleaved through the contentious cabal and claimed the crowns that cluttered the level. They then arrived soon at the Jigsaw Valley, wherein their teamwork was totally tested by the floor's format. Here there were cages that hid horrific monsters that didn't even belong to this area, and if they even made the slightest slip-up, it would become their undoing. Hindered by gates that were guarded by gears, Gas was forced to fight alone thanks to his three comrades. The switches would open a few gates and close others. Needless to say, this was fairly frustrating for everyone involved. As they descend into yet another part of the valley, they tempestuously tear into a terrible team of gremlins. Veiled in the viscera and the vestiges of their last battle, they find the gremlin hideout in a deconstruction zone. Swarming with gremlins all over, the team swiftly spread out and engaged the opposition. Blades, bullets, and bombs clashed with heavy hammers. Explosions erupted everywhere. With unreal uproar and calculated control, annihilation was only in a matter of minutes. They claim their cut and proceed to rest at one of the Clockwork terminals. There, they feared that they'd have to press on into a compound, wherein they will be forced to fight in a most hellish level, filled with nothing but misery and malediction. Fortunately for them, they spent a pleasant period of their time trading and waiting for Karitsa to sort out her belongings. This caused the route of the lift to change. What was once something they dreaded, a compound, has turned into something a little bit more favorable, an arena. The arena on its own is a distinguished, daring delegation only admired by those who bathe in the blessings of battle. Our 4 heroes are pitted against 3 raging rounds of raw resistance from the enemies around them. The battles within were fierce. Koritsa would suffer plenty but kill just as much as her allies. Gas would spearhead most of the slaughter, Yoshi would cover the party with his shots from afar, and Barumar, well, let's just say he's had it with the gremlins. After 2 difficult battles so far, they've come to find themselves in the final round. This was where the stage would get most savage. Spike traps lined the center of the arena, so our team would be forced to hug the arena's edges to survive. They fought well into this round, until an unexpected type of enemy appeared to assault the team. Hailing a barrage of steely spikes upon the knights was a phalanx of polar polyps. The spikes would whittle down the health of our brave heroes and even knock down both Yoshi and Gas for a moment. Koritsa herself would come undone as well, but Barumar revives her after finding a period of pardon. Yoshi would perish a second time, but Gas would revive him with one of the many sparks of life he has with him. The arena has had them tested, and after persevering, they claim their crowns, only to be greeted by the teal-colored display of the next floor. This is it, the dreaded Iron Claw Munitions Factory. A fiendish factory that produces frightening munitions and all means of malevolent mechanical beasts that only wish to destroy the world above. Here, the group had to contend with barrages of missiles that would hurt them plenty, but because Gas is the veteran of the group, he would be the one to dive into the missile maelstrom, with the other 3 knights helping him by flipping the switches. These switches activated the barricades around them, which tranquilized the turret's fire. The task in itself of navigating the entire level filled with duds and active bombs everywhere was ghoulishly grueling. The level itself was also teeming with ravenous robots, goonish gremlins, and even more quicksilvers. When they arrived at the second level, the difficulty had indeed ramped up for the whole team. But it was here where Yoshi had come up with the brilliant plan of keeping the monsters from multiplying by having Gas take care of the missiles while the former and both Barumar and Koritsa would stand on the generators with their shields up. The Knights' teamwork was in spotless synchronization, and they were able to clear the remainder of the level without anyone falling. They soon pass a lane of laser beams wherein the lift that awaited them only brought them to the pinnacle of their plight. Deep within the foregut of the factory, they behold a huge hangar of some sort. In this massive maintenance bay, giant gun puppies were gathered at the sides as electricity dimly danced through the wires that hung above. It was here where they'd face their most earth-shaking enemies yet. They step on the party button, and an alarm rings through their ears. From the sides rise towering terrors. They open their electronic eyes and let out a pair of rancorous roars. Enter the Romulus twins. With such tiny tools at their disposal, the knights knew that they couldn't bring harm to either of the twins using brute force. But Gas told them that they'd need to have one twin shoot the other in order to bring them down and close enough to conk. This proved particularly painful, since the same switches and barricades they had to bear with during the previous level were the main mechanisms that would allow the knights a fighting chance in this predicament. So they waited until it was time to strike. With metal marred and wires worn, the damaged twin rises again to keep fighting. But this time they needed to cause damage to the other twin who was more persistent in pelting our heroes with projectiles. The damaged twin, however, now tries to actively seek out the knights by moving from side to side. Regardless, they were able to figure out how to fell the twin that still remained fixed. While Baromar may have fallen here, his team had lifted him back up so he could help them save the day. The knights, now understanding the twins' taxing tactics, were ready to deliver their final flight into the enemy's jaws, so to speak. Little did they know that one twin was revving up an attack that they didn't see coming. Thankfully, none of our knights was viciously vaporized by the beams the twin fired. This only encouraged them to fight much harder and in sync with every move that the twins made. Eventually, their victory had come. Gas would unfortunately part ways with his team after this, as he needed to attend to more urgent matters above. This is a victory for the Spiral Order. Not only did the knights save the surface world, but they also saved Cradle itself from a planetary power play from the gremlin tyrants beneath. Such a victory shall be sung throughout the ranks of the knights themselves, the strangers, as well as the snipes. That is, until the remaining 3 knights have decided to press on without gas. That run went rather. The reason why I've decided to give this game a spotlight is because within it lies latent potential. Its art direction is wonderfully whimsical and often beautifully bold. Its storytelling is simply spellbinding, and its gameplay is greatly gratifying. There are so many plot points that could still be explored, and lots of chapters that are yet to be released. The music as well is mystifying and moving. This is particularly why I used the encounter theme earlier in this video. The problem with this game, unfortunately, is that it's dying. Yes, you've heard me correctly. Spiral Knights is a game that's giving out. While signs of it still show that it survives and scintillates like the auction house still selling wares from various knights, the game is devoid of any new content, updates, or continuation to its story. The pets or the battle sprites each eat a respective color of mineral, but the only minerals that remain uneaten are the Veilstone and the Moonstone. Come on, Greyhavens! You have a cat, a dragon, and whatever the hell this thing is. Make a dog or a bird or something to complete the lineup.
Surprisingly, people still play it, and I've recently seen a few new knights here and there.
That, or they could just be Smurf accounts. Alongside this, Spiral Knights has spawned a smattering of Discord servers, as well as a subreddit, the activities of which I'm not quite certain. Either way, I'd really think that if this game could get a mobile release, it would increase its player base by a little bit. Mobile phones nowadays are powerful enough to run games with incredibly high graphic requirements, and Spiral Knights was made to run on something as sensuous as Windows XP. Because the mouse aiming on a computer is absolutely appealing, twin-stick touch controls could most certainly captivate a new generation of players, especially those who prefer mobile gaming. But that's not the only thing that the game could be improved on. As of its current conditions, playing the game alone can feel quite lethargic and lonely. Don't get me wrong, playing this with friends is flat out fun. Hilarity may ensue while fighting any boss, but what I mean by lethargic and lonely is that the floors are massive and exploration could take forever. You'll be going back and forth, searching and scouting through twists and turns, and you're only hoping to reach the next party button. Combat, while already good, could even be better. What if they made new weapon classes for all weapon types? New fight mechanics like combos or counterattacks? How about ever new enemies? Did I mention the lag? Spiral Knights on its own is already an amazing game that surprisingly is still surviving somehow. I've played games alongside it that have already perished previously, and it still outlived them. There must be something that it's doing right, but as of this video, there is plenty that it's currently doing wrong. Whatever the case, it's in dire need of new knights, a revolution of rookies and recruits ready to repopulate the game's dwindling digits. But with this new surge of Skylarkers should come an overhaul and a complete improvement of the game to retain them. Maybe then, when the knights return to Cradle, the veterans too shall find themselves back home. They'll make new friends, new memories together, and perhaps discover a whole new game altogether. To any and all veteran knights watching this, maybe this obstinate ordeal of waiting and wavering is synonymous to our staying, albeit stale, sojourns into the Clockworks themselves. If you are still playing this, ask yourself, why do I do this? Why do I repeatedly descend into these derelict depths that I have vigilantly visited time and time again? Is it madness? Is it the grind? Is it trying to get that orb of alchemy I've been needing to find? Perhaps it is all of these. But it may also be hope. It's the hope deep within you that calls out to old times and old sentiments. Hope that echoes with your passion and persistence for this digital domain. Hope that knights from beyond Cradle's orbit would hear your distress signal. Cling onto this hope. It may be all you have, and it might be the only thing keeping you going. But even if we've all reached the core of our runs together, we can all rejoice one day and say that our run was good, even if it was painfully long. Hope springs forth from Cradle's synthetic skies with each day that passes, and who knows, we might all witness the metamorphosis of this flawed title into something more beautiful. To all of you who have made it this far, old and new viewers, thank you for watching and happy holidays. If you like this kind of content, thwack that thumbs up, smite that subscribe button, and bash that bell until we meet again.